Hey folks, Brian. It's been a busy week, week and a half, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Anyway, back in February, we got to play RQG. Um, the party started off back in Bagnot. Doesn't stop coming to mind for some reason. Back in Bagnot, after the war, phase one, and well, they were tasked to. We did a little recap kind of thing. It's not in the live play, which by the way is in the description. However, it's short, as we took a break and I forgot to turn it back on. And then as it first starts out, my voice is silent for a bit, so it may be a bit confusing. But anyway, so they got their task to go back to old Cordros to go back to investigate what they may find, since they didn't find. Well, they didn't find anything. They did find dragon ooze there, and they found a dark troll there who was apparently on some kind of a lifelong mission, and skeletons bringing slaves. So they go back. They did try to summon a naiad to summon a loon, but they were not successful in doing that. So they got a reed boat, probably two, and downriver. I forgot they're going downriver, so we go really fast because I rolled out, the 3-day travel to go upriver. Loon powered upriver, by the way. So yeah, that does make some questions. But anyway, so I figured, okay, twice fast, so only a half day. But I did 3 days worth of encounters. There were some interesting ones. I go, dang, I'm not gonna get any of those encounters done. But then as they're going downstream, they did end up having to camp for the first night. And there was an event the second day in the morning. So as they're preparing to leave camp, Rustra sees some movement in the bushes. And so she goes to investigate, and it turns out to be a group of dwarves. And they are asking if the party, these people here, these humans, had seen any of their hall members, because some of them have been going missing and they're out looking for them. And there's some discussion about slavers in the area, and the party invites them to come across the river, but they don't want to be doing that. So they do say, if you can send a message, if you find any of our hall members, you can send a message. We'll maintain somebody coming back to this spot here. And so the plan was made for Little Bird, that if they find, they're going to send Little Bird to this spot, and the dwarves will have a guy here at this spot, so they can make some connection if the party finds any other dwarves. So they continue on down. They get to across the island. There's a lot. Get across from the city. They get to Old Cordros, the ruins, and there's a lot of discussion about what to do, because they want to try to find the slavers. Right? That's what they want to do. They want to capture the slavers, get a hold of them, find what's going on, get some answers. But they didn't want to go to the city. They want to do it on the far side, because they talk to the captives from the skeletons from before, and so they know roughly where they were. But they were brought from all over. Brought to this one place and brought across on a boat. Okay, so the party goes to that spot. They find it. Yeah, there's a spot here. It looks like they've had boats. That was weeks ago that occurred. And the slavers could be coming from anywhere upriver to come across to the island. There was some misunderstanding of thinking that the slavers were on the island itself. They weren't. The slavers are on the other side of the island. In Lunar Tarsh somewhere. And So they start searching around for different other spots, that kind of thing. But they end up camping that night at the spot that they had found, and there was an encounter in the middle of the night. A restaurant again, and somebody and Miriam were all on watch at that time, and they hear noises out in the river, like something sloshing around. So let's peek out and see what's going on. There's these large figures moving down the river towards, in the shallows by the beach kind of thing, or the river edge, however it actually looks, I don't know. And she calls out to them, and they speak back in Old Wormish, and they didn't understand what it was, but oh yeah, that's Old Wormish, because they got the 25%. But the other creatures have got a higher percentage, so they can, possibly get some discussion going. Which leads me to a sidebar. I had a discussion with either my son or one of their players about books and languages and skills, right? So if a book is written very abstract or academically or esoterically even, right, they're going to use a certain style of language that's going to be very hard to understand, period, right? So the book's written percentage is going to be very, very small. Whereas if you're reading, Run, Dick, Run, the percentage is very high because anybody who's a little bit can understand it. I remember that from kindergarten. Run, Dick, Run. Jane throwing the ball, their dog. There's also this whole... In school we had this Hawaiian brother and sister. Forgot their names. But, sidebar. So, the reverse is true as well. So if you got somebody who talks, if their language skill is really, really high, they're going to learn to bring things down. Some conversation goes on. They talk about enemies chasing them. Never got to figure out what enemies was. And a couple of reaction rolls later, and some more miscommunications, and these creatures continue up by themselves. Oh, by the way, Miriam at one point does come out. And she can see through second sight that these creatures have got multiple power signatures on them. Like spirits and items with power and stuff like that. So I thought it was kind of cool. Those are my two real cool. I got my encounters back in, and so the party decides to go ahead and go to the city, the ruins, and do some investigation over there, looking for. Well, they know where the prisoners had come aboard into the ruins. That pier area, and they knew part of the route. I don't know if the prisoners actually explained the whole route, but it's not too bad. It was fairly straight. So they're looking around, looking for encounters. They did run into some rubble runners in a building, but the rubble runners weren't really that interested in things, and so they were sneaking. And as Juchi said, what did he say? He said, going to invoke his inner Subutai, I think it was, because Subutai was the hunter. And, sure, go ahead, roll love family. Yeah, okay, you get your bonus. Sneak up there. So he was able to sneak up there. It was kind of cool. And you can see these rope runner things, and they don't want to mess with that. So they go up into the upper city, the government section, whatever it is up there at the top, right? Because there's a keep and buildings and stuff up there. And sure enough, a lot of it's been destroyed and stuff. And they go wandering up there, and they go around, and they come across a section where everything is clean, right? Like there's been movement here, and people have, covering up their own track. It's getting them clean so you can't see them, they're tracking through and that kind of stuff. And so they go down into the building, and then they go down into this building. And at that point is where we had to stop. There was a bunch of interface issues as I'm trying to run, the Owlbear Rodeo with the dynamic lighting and all that kind of stuff. And one of the players, for some reason, his vision, this one player's vision was at lit distance kind of thing, right? 10, 15 meters. Whereas everybody else just had right around him, unless we put a light on, and then it would light up kind of thing. So that's where we entered. They came down into the room, or into the building's basement kind of thing, or the second level or something, and that's where we ended the session. Not too bad. It was pretty fun. I got my cool encounters in, and the party's actually doing something now. Happy gaming.